My girlfriend has told me not to talk to her best friend. My GF thinks that her best friend has stated to like me. I was recently introduced to my girlfriend's best friend. Now she cheated on her husband and the marriage broke off and she's now getting divorced. She's going through a very difficult phase. Now my girlfriend introduced me to her. We three ended up talking a lot about her feelings and the divorce. During this time I felt sorry and sympathy for her. And I am a really friendly guy. I always will make any of my friend feel good whenever they are low. Now there are a few incidents that have happened that have really caused a lot of tension between me and my GF. We three went out for lunch and her friend fed me in front of my GF. When she fed it was such a surprise that I didn't know what to do and ended up eating it. My GF didn't react that time, but then later that night we had a big fight. My GF and her best friend were discussing about handsome guys and all of a sudden she said that you're so lucky to be with him. Again hell came on me. There have been instances where her friend was telling me things first before my GF which made her angry. One time she was really feeling low and I didn't ask her why she was feeling low because I was already having a lot of fights with my GF, so I thought if I asked her and she answers I'll be in trouble, so I didn't ask and gave her a chocolate instead, which brought unreal hell on me. I gave her the chocolate because I felt guilty not asking her why she was feeling low. She told my GF that she's been feeling really horny these days. My GF asked if she was thinking about her ex-husband. She said no, and now my GF says she's horny because of me, and again we had huge fights because of this. I got really tired of constant fights. Because of this I have stopped talking to her. I told my GF many times that she doesn't like me, but she is reluctant and confident that she does. She has told me not to initiate any conversations with her, but I don't know why I feel like talking to her. I don't want to sleep with her, but I just like talking to her. I really love my GF. Can someone tell me few things? Does her friend like me? Should I stop talking to her completely? Why do I feel like talking to her even though I have got so much hell from my girlfriend already? Comment. This is definitely something you need to actually be honest with yourself about. Imagine if the roles were switched, how would you feel? I wouldn't feel comfortable with any of what's going on either. Imagine watching your best friend feed her? That's crazy. And if you still want to talk to her even after that? It doesn't seem right. She does like you or the thought of you. Remember, she cheated, so she is already an untrustworthy person. Also, for the love of God, take a moment and actually think about what you wrote and ask yourself, do I really need hundreds of strangers pointing out how clueless I am? Yes, and such a stupid and immature question. Grow up. Because you are an extremely naive person with the mind of a child. Grow up and act your age before you destroy your relationship with your GF. Get a clue, bro. She absolutely likes you. You should definitely stop talking to her. That last one, I'm not sure. Maybe she gives you a refuge from your girlfriend's misdirected anger, maybe you are just attracted to her, I don't know. But girls are really good at knowing when someone's into their boyfriend, especially their friends. She probably never expected her best friend to betray her like this, and it's easier for her to take it out on you, which isn't okay of her. But you probably should have been more open to the idea of her liking you. You need to have a serious talk with your girlfriend. And whatever you do, don't date the best friend. Once a cheater, always a cheater. The kind of girl who cheats on her husband and then openly flirts with her best friend's husband, in front of her, is not the kind of girl you want to be with. Good luck. If her friend does not respect her enough to not come after you, then she has no business talking to her at all. If her friend can't control herself, then you can control yourself. I would tell your GF that if she can't trust her friend or you, then she needs to stop talking to her friend. If she can't do that, then she can't stop you from being polite. She is frankly showing so much hypocrisy, it's disgusting. If she can't be trusted, period, tell your GF they can't be friends either. See what she does. Lastly, I think her friend does like you and you are being naive. That said, your GF is just being a hypocrite. In this scenario all of you kind of suck. I wouldn't like that either. And I don't know what were you thinking getting her box of chocolates instead of just casually asking if she's okay. The chocolate thing seems more secretive and intimate. It sounds like you were talking to her alone or in texts, so that sounds weird too. My boyfriend only seems to talk with my friends alone when we are all together and isn't pursuing a special friendship with any one of my friends, which would feel weird too, although I'm happy they are friends. But if she is bothered you talk to her when you are all hanging out together, that's weird, so I assume you were pursuing a special friendship with this woman alone. Why is that? She is her best friend, you would have get to hang out with her either way. Next story 2. Is it rude to change my mind while making plans with when I was the one instigated? Background context. So I have this long-time friend since high school. He has told me he liked me a few years back after making some moves on me, while knowing full well I'm in a committed relationship. I turned him down as kindly as I could and we have remained friends kind of awkwardly. One hangout at my place actually had me answering a fake phone call to get him to leave because my previous 4 attempts to tell him the day was over didn't go through. The phone call didn't work either. I ended up directly saying it's late and I need sleep now, can you go? He has since invited me out to group gatherings, which I've always had to reject because I can't afford the activities he and his friends like. I recently got back from studying abroad and so my funds are extra low. He invited me over to hang out again and I declined, citing my financial issues. He told me he could cover my costs if I did chores with him, but then described me cooking, cleaning, and doing laundry, while he's in the yard. I've seen his yard, there's no grass or plants. I don't know what he would have been doing. Ultimately I said no. The issue. Today I finally have a free day and saw a deal for it being National Cinema Day, so movies are $4 no matter the film or theater. I'd been feeling bad about declining all his invitations, so I asked if he was free to see a random movie. That we could just pick a theater to meet at first and then choose after, maybe grab food while we discuss which movie to watch. I didn't want to waste time texting about movies because where we live, traffic is hell. Hence why I wanted to meet first. Instead he kind of went on tangents and suggested theaters that would be a 20 to 30 minutes drive for him but an hour and a half for me. And despite me saying we could just meet up first, he just started sending movie titles. I now kind of regret extending the invite. How much of a B would I be to say NVM at this point? Comment. That would not be a good move. Instead, respond that you cannot drive that far and need to pick a place in the middle. Abandon the idea of meeting beforehand and just decide on the movie, location, and time to meet up. Yes, I get that. If this is new behavior on his part, or something you forget about when you decide to invite him, now make it a part of your knowledge base. He is a person that likes to plan. If you want to control that, then you figure out what, where and how you want to do something, and then when you do invite him, just invite him with all of the details included. Next story 3. Is my boyfriend too immature / not good enough for a relationship? I met my boyfriend at my internship this summer through mutual friends. We started hanging out in our friend group at first, then would hang out with just the two of us. He goes to school in a different state and graduates in 2 years, MBA program, whereas I finish in 1, master's. Before we started dating, I had mentioned to him that I don't do long distance because it's a personal preference of mine. In all honesty, I don't think LD ever works out, and because I did LD in my past relationship and just didn't like it, and it also didn't work out. So, I told him I didn't want to date for this reason, as well as both of us having busy schedules and because he is young and still has 2 more years of school. Obviously, he wasn't happy that I didn't want to date, and later that day he texted me to meet up at a plaza to talk. He brings me flowers and is basically trying to convince me to date him. He mentions things about how I should be trusting, how he wouldn't cheat, how he would come to visit as much as he could, and how I should give LD a shot. After talking for an hour, I gave in and said all right. Fast forward to dating for a couple of weeks, everything was fine since we were seeing each other at work and outside of work. His communication was fine, would call me in the morning, throughout the day, and at night. There's a celebratory intern event in Florida that interns go to at the end of the internship and we both went. I was in the first way, however. At this point, I would still be in contact with him despite being busy all day with events and meeting other people. When he went, he would barely text me, especially after 4 p.m. We're basically given free time, so I know he would still have time to at least text or call. I just found it so interesting how in this day and age people are always on their phones, so there really isn't an excuse. He's not some CEO of a company to be that busy to not send a simple text. Even if he is busy, he could have said something like, "Hey, I'm going to be busy doing so and so, I'll call you when I'm done." After this event, he goes back to college for a week of MBA orientation. Of course, I know how time-consuming doing an MBA can be and I'm considerate of that. However, if he's really that busy in school, then having a girlfriend shouldn't be something he should have right now. Another really big ick I got from him was his IG following list. His ratio was so off. This man follows 3.5k people, mainly girls, and most don't even follow him back. So embarrassing. I told him how uncomfortable it made me feel and how he would like these half-naked girls' pics. He basically invalidated my feelings and said how it's very middle school of me to be getting upset over him liking these girls' pictures and that he just likes every picture and moves on, which I think is complete BS. I just think it's all about respect in a relationship. All these issues compiled together just seems like red flags to me, but I still love him. I just don't know if I can fully trust him. I feel like I'm just asking for the bare minimum and not receiving it. I love his personality though aside from these issues, which is why I'm not sure how to go about this situation. How do I move on about this? If I do end things, just wanna make it a FWB kinda thing. Comment. You don't have to try to paint someone even younger than you are as immature merely to recognize that you were absolutely right about this not being a good time for either of you to be in a relationship. TBH, he sounds like an utterly typical college 22yo in 2023. The mistake here is when instead of insisting that you didn't want to date him, you folded just because he showed up with flowers. You should both just focus on your educations right now.